Hello, everybody.
Hello.
If this is your first VCU event you've attended, welcome to VCU virtually.
Welcome as everyone's trickling in.
Yep. All right. There's a good amount of you guys today. All right. Well, good afternoon now, everybody. Thank you all for joining us at this event. So if you don't know where you are right now, you're at Lunch and Learn with the VCU New Student Office of New Student and Family Programs. So I'm not sure exactly how you might have found out about this event, but the purpose of this event is for the family members of incoming new students. So whether your student is a first-year student or a transfer student, they're your loved one and you're here to support them. So the purpose of this event is for after you've completed your RAM Ready modules, we're just kind of here to rehash things and answer any questions that you might still have after completing that content. I just want to preface, so if there are any students that may have found their way in here, I just want to let you all know that you don't need to be here. If there are any students in this call, feel free to leave right now because you don't have to be here. You can if you want, but you don't have to be. Once again, students, you don't have to be here if you are. Okay, I'm going to drop a question in here for you all. So this is just to get a range to see where everyone's at with RAM Ready content.
If it doesn't pop up on your screen, that's totally fine. Just let us know maybe in the chat and give us an idea of what is RAM Ready? Have you finished it? Is it hard to make an account? But I know where it's at. Just give us an indication. That'd be great.
Oh, and also, this is the second Lunch and Learn event that we're hosting this summer. We already hosted one a few weeks ago. So something else too, if you already attended that first one, this is pretty much going to be the same structure. Ideally, I'd like this one's hopefully going to be a little more organized than our last one. But if you already attended one before and feel like you had all your questions answered, then you also don't have to be here right now. But if you did come to our last one and you still have more questions or you have new questions, then please stick around. Okay, it looks like the majority of the call has participated in the poll and it's looking pretty good. I don't think you guys can see the results of this poll. You know if they can, Karina?
No, I don't believe so.
I think I have to end it for y'all to see the results. Oh, share results. Okay, so this is great. Most of you guys have completed your modules, so that's very good to hear.
And we see some folks maybe couldn't figure out how to make an account, or I mean, what the heck is RAM Ready? And that's completely fine. That's what we're here for today, is to go over some information. And also, if you have any questions, we're really here to dive in and provide any answers and assistance that we can. So you're in the right place.
Yep.
I have a question. Do you have like an agenda with, what's your agenda? Can you please share it?
Yes, we were just about to get to that. Thank you. We have a PowerPoint that we're going to be going through throughout this meeting, and Karina is going to drop that link in the chat for you all. So as I'm going through, or as Karina and I are going through this PowerPoint, feel free to open that up on your own device and follow through it. You won't have, like access to edit it, but just to view it. And lots of the things that we're going over you'll see they're hyperlinked on each slide. So when we bring up a different office or resource on campus, the link should be right there to, take you to the website for whatever office is being mentioned on that slide. So you guys, yep, the link's right there in the chat so you can follow along with the presentation we're going to be going over.
You
Okay.
guys gonna introduce yourselves?
Yep, we're about to do that
Okay, go ahead. Sorry for being ahead of the game. I'm just
too.
Yeah, totally fine.
I'm a teacher myself, so I can't help it.
Gotcha. Keeping us on our toes. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, I hate-
We'll introduce ourselves, and then I believe, I don't know if we have someone with a question already ready to go, and we'll definitely open that up for you after we get our names out there.
Yep. All right. Well, once again, welcome everybody. And okay, now we're introducing ourselves. Okay. So my name is Michaela Murdoch. I serve as the family program coordinator for the Office of New Student and Family Programs. I've been in this position for about 2 years, and I actually just graduated from VCU this past May. So I'm officially an alumni, and I'm very happy to work with this office and just help you guys however I can.
Yes, thank you, Michaela. My name is Karina Fonseca, and I am the summer graduate intern this year for family programs. So I'm super excited to work with VCU and our wonderful family and be a resource for y'all as we kind of get introduced and transitioned here on campus. So very happy to be here to be of help today.
Thanks, Karina. And we have 2 family orientation leaders here with us today too. So whichever one of y'all wants to introduce yourself first.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Chanel. I am a senior, so I'm about to graduate, so it's very exciting. I am majoring in chemistry with a concentration in biochemistry, and I live in Richmond, Virginia.
Hi, I'm Kayla. I'm the other family OL. This is my 2nd year working with the OL team. I'm a junior and I'm a marketing major with a minor in African American Studies. And I'm also super happy to be here. And if you do have questions in the chat, I'm trying to do my best to get to those. So yeah.
All right, thanks y'all. Yep, you guys are more than family members here. You're more than welcome to drop questions in the chat as we're going along. And like Kayla just mentioned, they'll be answering them as we're going through here. Right.
Yeah, we're about to dive into some content, so feel free if you have questions. We may get to them in the presentation, but I do see we may have a question. So I don't know if Stephen Thomas, if your hand is raised and you're wanting to ask us something right now. If anything, you could drop it in the chat, like we said, and we can definitely work on answering everyone's questions. So I think we're good.
Yep. All right. So, like I said, we are here representing the Office of New Student and Family Programs at VCU. And the purpose of our office is we work to provide a smooth transition for incoming students and their family members into the VCU community through educational content like the RAM Ready modules and relevant events like this one that you're at right now to help leave new members of the Ramily feeling confident in their knowledge of VCU and its many resources. So the first thing we're going to get started with is academic advising. As you guys may have seen, I know most of you guys completed your RAM Ready modules. So again, a lot of this is just reiterating some of that content. So academic advising is where your student will go to just that, be advised for things with their schedule, with grades, and it's just a point of contact to help them throughout their journey as a student. And the academic for first-year students is located in Hibbs Hall on campus. And after your student's first year, they'll be paired up with an advisor that's specific to your student's field of study. And then that will be their advisor, for the rest of their time at VCU. Should that advisor not stay in that department anymore or leave the university, your student will be paired with another advisor within their field. And also feel free to take photos of these slides too, if something's sticking out that, oh wait, you guys have the link to this. Never mind, you guys got it, but if you would take a picture too. Okay, so more on academic advising. This is the process here for first year students. they completed or should have completed a registration form when they accepted their offer letter at VCU. Then after that, they'll be able to go in and actually schedule a small group advising appointment after your student completes module 4 of their RAM Ready modules. And for transfer students, they also complete one, a form, but that's specific to transfer students. And similarly to first year students, they'll go in and make that appointment in Navigate, that's like the portal for students to meet with advisors, academic advisors, and financial advisors.
Yeah, so students may have a lot of questions about their class schedules and hearing, I haven't heard from my advisor. So you can be sure to know that they can make sure that they fill out that form and keep track of Navigate and see when their advisor, as they make it to all of the students that they can make sure that your student gets the help that they need and their schedule and everything in order.
Yep. Thanks, Karina. Oops. Oh, goodness. Okay, here we go. Academic resources on campus. So 2 major academic resources that your student will have when they come to VCU is the Campus Learning Center. So this is where your student will be able to have tutoring, where they can have meet for supplemental instruction for different classes that they're in, and they can have academic coaching too. In addition to that, we have the Writing Center on campus, and it's exactly what it sounds like. That's where your student can go to really hone their writing skills. They can bring essays, papers there, and they'll be revised by a student consultant who will work specifically with your student to help strengthen their writing. And they also do workshops there. So that's a group setting for advice and tips on how to strengthen your writing. Karina, do you want to take it off for a few slides?
Yeah, so now we can talk about Ramtech. So Ramtech is the on-campus tech store where it helps provide anything from electronics and different things that students need to be a successful student. So again, that can go for if you need an emergency charger or some headphones or anything. Oh, I believe on the screen, the presentation is changing, Michaela. So I don't know if you're, moving around, but so Ramtech, and it's hyperlinked in the presentation, is the go-to place for anything with computers, and also offers protection for personal computers for students. And also if there's any in-house computer repairs that are needed, Ramtech is also the place to go for that as well. So your student can explore the resources there. And Barnes & Noble at VCU. So this is the one-stop shop for VCU merchandise and the textbook store. So if your student is in need of textbooks and wants to order through VCU Barnes & Noble, that they're able to do that. And if you're able to visit campus, this is where you get your VCU gear. So your students' e-services portal will automatically connect their class schedule with the required textbooks and materials that they need for the semester. So they're able to see what textbooks they need through this portal that is also connected with Barnes & Noble. And again, BNN at VCU price matches. So if you find a different price on Amazon or any other textbook competitor, BNN at VCU will price match that price, which is really nice.
Yeah, I know that sounds a little odd, but the VCU Barnes & Noble, specifically the VCU bookstore, may have different prices and rates for things than just the general Barnes & Noble website. So when it says that they price match with their own website, that's why, because there's ones that are specific to universities, and then they have their entire, company-wide website too that sells textbooks.
Yeah, and we hyperlinked that in there as well to also get more details on the price matching and how that works with BNN at VCU. All right, so VCU Dine. So this is the spot on campus responsible for all things dining. So meal plans are required for students living in these residence halls. So these residence halls include Johnson Hall, Brant Hall, Rhodes Hall, the GRC, and the Honors College. And the meal plans are kind of broken into two different paths. So there are swipes, and one swipe is the equivalent of a meal. So you can swipe in to eat at the dining hall, or even swiping for a meal at the Chick-fil-A, at the Commons, or anything like that. And on the other side, there's dining dollars. So this is virtual money specifically to make purchases at any restaurants on campus or any markets included in the dining plan. And again, this can also be used to grab a milkshake at Chick-fil-A or a bag of chips at the market. So there's those different options. And one thing that's really cool to know about VCU Dine is, one, Richmond has one of the highest meal taxes in the country. So the dining plans are tax-free. So if your student is really maybe a Chick-fil-A fan, or maybe a fan of one of the restaurants on campus, it can help save money on those taxes that may be imposed otherwise. So that's just a little tidbit there. All right, so parking and transportation. So there is an office for this on campus and responsible for providing safe and accessible parking for VCU students and guests of all of the campuses. So parking passes are not available to first-year students living in an on-campus residence hall. So that is something to note. However, all off-campus students and upperclassmen students are authorized to purchase parking passes at different parking decks and locations varying by the status of the student's living situation. So that's kind of a lot and kind of a paragraph, but I know link to the website can also give a good indicator of what is needed for parking and those prices as well. But off-campus and street parking is fairly abundant amongst the city of Richmond. Just, of course, be wary of time-limited parking and paid parking around the city. And cars will get ticketed and towed due to ticket violations. So that's just something to note, and why being cognizant of parking and transportation and this office is really important.
Yeah. Sorry, I know Karina's talking about this one and she's in North Carolina, so I can speak a little bit more because I've been on campus more. So as far as the different, like, accessing parking passes for different decks, it may look like VCU has a lot of parking decks. They do have a lot of parking decks, but just because you and your student might see one that's like very close to, say, the residence hall they're going to be living in, that doesn't necessarily mean that your student can get a pass to that deck. VCU, they have it so that certain decks are for, like, some are for faculty and staff strictly, then other ones are strictly for off-campus students, and other ones are strictly for on-campus students. So it all depends, and while there is a lot of options for parking, it just depends on where your student falls among those categories. So if your student does, say, live off campus, but they work for VCU, so that was something that I did while when I was at VCU. I was a student employee, well, I am still, but living off campus. So I was able to park at like a certain deck, and then I had like a discounted rate too because I was an employee. So there's a lot of good options and things regarding parking. And yeah, off campus and street parking, there is a lot of it around VCU, around Richmond. It all depends obviously about the time of day that your student gets to campus. You might have a better chance of getting a super good close parking spot at like 8 a.m, and then you might have a little more trouble finding one at 2 p.m. when there's a lot of people on campus. But either way, you should be able to find parking that might just be a few blocks farther away. So you might have to walk a little bit, but there is still plenty of options for free street parking. And like Karina mentioned, just be wary and pay very close attention to signs around Richmond that say, 2-hour parking, 4-hour parking. Pay attention to those times on the signs too, like from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So just making sure you're not like paying for parking when you don't have to, and making sure that you're really paying close attention to when you parked and that you're not going over those time limits, because the city of Richmond does not hesitate to slap parking tickets on your cars. I've paid an embarrassing amount of parking tickets during my time at VCU. I think I paid like $250 in one semester for parking tickets one time. Not my favorite, but it was my own fault, I guess, for not paying attention to when those signs told me I should have moved my car. All right, we can go on. Oh, more transportation. Okay, so we just went over parking, obviously. Now for the transportation side of this office, being in a city and not a lot of students do have cars on campus, VCU does have some pretty good transportation options for students that don't have a car. The main one that students will use is called RamSafe. So that is a shuttle service that runs around both the Monroe Park campus. So that's the campus that has, the main library, Hibbs, the Commons. That's the Monroe Park campus. And then the MCV campus, that's the medical campus. That's a little more downtown. RamSafe runs between both of those campuses. It runs a little bit outside of Richmond too. I want to say it still goes to the Kroger that's right there near campus on Lombardi. So it's just a very good option for students that might not be able to get themselves around, especially after dark. You don't want your student walking around at night. The RamSafe is a very good option for having your student make sure that they can get from point A to point B safely during these time windows that are here on the slide. And in addition to that, VCU students have access to riding Richmond's public bus system, the GRTC, and your student won't have to go and, get like a bus card or anything or load money onto it. Their ID, their VCU card that they'll get, that is their pass, that will grant them access to riding the bus. You can correct me. I think actually, I just realized I might have been wrong when I was just saying that. Back when they first started that, at least they gave a bus card, so they might still do that. But okay, I see Chanel nodding her head. Okay,
Well, they did give it in the beginning, but because of COVID situations and they kind of changed it a little bit. You didn't really get to use it once they gave it because COVID hit. So now it's just you just have to show your ID and you're good.
Okay, thanks, Chanel. Okay, well, what Chanel said, your student, just has to prove that they're a student. They can get on and ride the bus for free. And as you can see, the RamSafe, it is a bit more limited as far as where it will go and when it runs. But the GRTC, it runs pretty much all day, and it covers a lot of area in Richmond, all the way up Broad Street, all the way down to some good shopping centers if your student needs to run to Target or run to the drugstore to get something. And it goes all the way towards downtown as well. So that's a very good option that your student has free access to the bus like that. All right, going on to safety and the VCU Police Department. Oops. So VCU PD's mission is to provide a safe and secure learning, living, and working environment for VCU students, faculty, staff, and visitors on campus. And if you have visited VCU's campus already, then you might have noticed that we have these yellow boxes around campus that say emergency on the side, and they have a blue flashing light on top. And those are emergency reporting telephone systems. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically just a metal box with the telephone on it. And if your student is in a situation where they need emergency, whatever, they need to get in contact with an emergency dispatcher, they would go to one of those boxes, whichever one's nearest. Like I said, they're very visible with that blue flashing light that they have. And all your student would have to do is just pick up the phone, and they'll be connected with a VCU police. Sorry, I'm plugging my computer in. With the VCU police emergency contact person. And they don't have to even say where they are or anything like that, because the dispatcher will have that exact location of the box that your student is at on that phone. So that's a great option to just, I know that was what I did like my freshman year. If I was walking by myself at night, like coming home from the gym or the library, just keeping an eye on where's the closest blue box, where's the closest blue light, where's the closest blue light. Just that's a good thing to try and encourage your student to do if they're by themselves at night, to just keep those blue lights in some line of sight for themselves, to make sure that if God forbid something happened, they can just find that nearest box and get connected with an emergency dispatcher. All right. Okay. Karina.
So student involvement. So VCU is a large campus, so there's plenty of things to do. Some things that we want to know is as soon as your student arrives on campus, we're going to be having what's called Weeks of Welcome. And that is a series of events where new students and returning students get introduced to campus life and get to participate in fun events through the university and through school clubs and organizations. And there's just fun social activities that your student can engage in safely. So, you know, if there's a gap of time between like move-in and classes start, and you may be wondering, well, what is my student going to be doing there? These events are what's offered so that your student can have things to do on campus and start to get involved and find their place here. So Hyperlinked is a link straight to the Weeks of Welcome website. And that website is a go-to place to begin to see what may be offered for those weeks. And to mention student clubs and organizations, there are over 500 offered here at VCU. So there's plenty of interests that are touched on that your student can get involved in and really explore what they're interested in. So clubs and organizations post their events on a website called Rams Connect. So Rams Connect is going to be a really important website for your student to not only get involved through kind of events through Weeks of Welcome, but also throughout the year and throughout their time at VCU. Rams Connect is going to be a place where they can find what's going on campus and find educational and social activities that they can join and be a part of. So Rams Connect is a great resource that we want to emphasize for student involvement. All right, and a little bit about student wellness. So VCU is committed to student well-being. So there's a few services that we wanted to touch on. One being University Student Health Center, the University Counseling Services, and Recreation and Wellbeing, otherwise known as RecWell. And all three, as you can see, are hyperlinked, so you can visit their corresponding websites. But one thing to know about the Student Health Center is that it is a nationally accredited healthcare service. So your student would be receiving, again, high quality care that VCU is known for. And it's important to note that the Student Health web portal is going to be a key spot for them, because that is going to be a place where they'll submit documents, whether that be like the immunization forms, and when we continue talking about different documents that may be needed, and scheduling appointments. So throughout the year, they can schedule appointments through the health center through that web portal. So that is important to note. And for University Counseling Services, so for this service, students can schedule appointments with professional staff members one-on-one. They could join virtual student support groups for various topics. And there's also resources available in their office and on their website that really correspond to mental health and well-being. So that's a great office to note. And going on to RecWell. So RecWell offers recreational sports and events that promote healthy being and health promotion. And they also have access to a lot of wellness resources, such as mindfulness events or other resources to promote healthy lifestyles and getting recreational. So that's just a touch on those three offices and student wellness. And to touch on the COVID-19 vaccine requirement. So I'll read this verbatim because it's some pretty important information. So for the fall semester, the COVID-19 vaccination will be required for all students who live, learn, work, or will be on campus for any reason, excluding those with religious or health exemptions. Students attending fall classes must report their vaccination to University Student Health Services no later than July 15th. Students who receive a 2-dose vaccination must report completion of both doses. Additionally, students living in an on-campus housing will need to submit COVID-19 vaccination records before they can sign up for a move-in time slot. This requirement, of course, will allow our students to safely learn, live, gather, and join the Ramley in a safe way. So this is touching on the COVID-19 vaccine requirement. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we'll refer to the Student Health Services website. Has really detailed instructions on how to submit these forms and kind of any details from there that are important to know. So again, that link to the website for Student Health Services is a really good spot to learn more details about this requirement.
Thanks, Karina. I'll take on the next slide. So student accessibility and equal opportunity. This is the office of SAO at VCU. So SAO is the office responsible for working with all students with any kind of disability to ensure equal access to VCU's programs, opportunities, facilities, and activities. They implement accommodations that are geared towards providing equal access, such as testing accommodations, classroom accommodations, housing accommodations, all that good stuff. So to register, if your student will need any kind of accommodations, they will complete an intake form available on SAO's website that is linked there on the slide. And your student will need to provide documentation from an appropriately licensed professional, and they'll have to meet with the case manager at the SAO office to determine reasonable accommodations for your student's situation. And the student informs their professor or the appropriate offices of any and approved accommodations or modifications for which they've been approved. All right, the Student Financial Management Center. So this includes financial aid, billing, and financial guidance and planning. Students are assigned with a personal finance counselor that they can make appointments with through the Navigate app. So that's the same app where your student will be making academic advising appointments. It's the same for financial advising appointments as well. And we just really wanted to plug to you all, let you all know that family members are open to attend the financial aid and billing sessions that are hosted throughout the summer. So these dates and times are listed here on the slide. You all have access to this PowerPoint, or you can take a photo of it on your phone if you want to. But please feel free to attend these events. These events will allow you to hear personally from someone who works for the Office of Financial Aid and Billing. Ask them any questions that you might have about your particular financial situation, and they'll be a great resource to help you out with any kind of discrepancies you may be having in this department. Oh, and it says here at the bottom, if you want to attend one of these events, they're on Rams Connect, the website that was just mentioned with all the different events that happen on campus. So go to that website and find them there where you can register and attend them.
You'll be able to search in a search bar financial aid, or you can even use an event tag and find orientation financial. And those events should pop up, which will allow you to click register. And then from there, you can create a guest account, and that should work.
And I just saw a quick question in the chat. I'll just go ahead and answer that right now about the dates for tuition fee payment. Tuition is due on the first day that classes start. Just keep that in mind. And there are like payment plan options too that VCU does offer, but I believe to do that you'd have to start that payment plan or make clear that you plan on paying a bill through the payment plan prior to the day that classes start. All right. So career services at VCU, this is exactly what it sounds like. This is the office that helps just set your student up for success with their career path that they're choosing to follow through whatever they're studying at VCU. So this office supports students and recent alumni in exploring their interests and gaining experience in their field to reach their career goals. They offer one-on-one appointments. They help with resume and job interviews. So if your student might be working on a resume or they might have a internship or a job interview coming up, feel free to encourage your student to make an appointment with career services to go in and meet with somebody just to go over their resume, go over some potential interview questions that they might be asked, and just really help your student feel as confident as they can going into their professional journey. So they offer ways to help search for jobs, different websites that you can use to find job listings and internships. And students can search for jobs on campus using Handshake and other search tools. They're hyperlinked there in the slide through career services as well. All right, so You First at VCU. This office or department resource offers support services for students who will be the first in their family to obtain a bachelor's degree. So this is for first-generation college students. And we are actually offering affinity groups for first-generation family members partnered with this office, You First at VCU. And they have the date, the time, and the Zoom link right there. Karina, I'm not sure if this is if you're affiliated with this one, if you want to.
Yeah, so this office is a great opportunity to get resources geared towards students and families that this will be the first student will be the first to obtain a bachelor's degree. So specifically for families, we're partnering with this office to offer an affinity group, which is basically a community of family members who all identify with having a first-generation student. And there's programming and kind of just a space to build community. And we included the date of this next event and also the direct Zoom link. So if you identify as being a family member of a first-generation college student, please, we welcome you into this space to build community at this time, and we're partnered with this office.
All right, let's see what's next. VCU Alert. Okay, so VCU Alerts, they are alerts that go out online, and you can also sign up to have VCU alerts texted to have them sent right to your phone, as they're happening. So they're updates sent out by the university to notify whoever is, signed up for those texts, whoever's looking at the website, to just notify people of various emergency situations happening on campus. It's not as scary as it sounds. It can be sometimes, but it's not always. Sometimes it can be something as simple as this road is going to be blocked off today, so plan on avoiding this road today for heavy traffic or construction, things like that. Or it can be something more serious, like if there was like a violent crime that may have happened at this area, like at night or something, they'll send out a text, say like avoid the area. Or if there was a fire, or I want to say last like year or two ago, there was like a gas leak in one of the engineering buildings. So the VCU alert went out about that, just telling students or whoever's in the area to avoid that area until whatever situation that's going on is resolved. And as it says here, once the situation is resolved, they're very good about sending out an additional alert once that situation is handled and once that area is safe again. So you're not just wondering, nail biting, like, can I go back over here? Is this safe yet? They'll let you know this area, this set of blocks around campus, it's all good to go. You can go back here safely now. All right. I know we saw a lot of questions about FERPA and proxy access. So FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and it grants your student the right to privacy over their academic records. there are ways, for you to legally access your students' grades. So that's just a conversation that you'll have to have with them, just to make sure that y'all are on the same page about you accessing your students' grades. So your student can give you proxy access to their academic records. So like I said, you're able to go in and just see how they're doing and check on them academically. And we have those things hyperlinked here as well for you to look at.
This is also really good to know in case, for instance, if your student's meeting with their academic advisor, academic advisors will not be able to discuss any progress or anything about your student unless you as a parent or guardian have this proxy access. So again, this is really important if your student grants you this access to talk about anything involved with their academics or any other records that they have on campus. You would need this by your student to get access to this.
Yep. All right, and we have VCU card next. So your VCU card, that's going to be your student's ID that they have on campus. That's where, they'll take their photo, be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then they'll have to hold on to that for the next 2 to 4 years and probably be embarrassed by that photo by the time they graduate. But that's the card that your student's going to need to hang on to. If your student lives in a residence hall, that card will be what gets your student into the hall. They'll, tap it, and they have a little magnetic thing in there so that the people at the front desk at that hall know that your student is someone who lives in that building. And that's just for safety, to make sure that the people who are coming in and out of the building are just people that live there. The card will also work to hold your student's meal plan if they have one. So if your student is swiping for a meal to go into the dining hall, if they're paying for something at the little market convenience store, they'll use their VCU card again to pay for those kinds of things. So it's a very important little piece of plastic, and just it has a lot of things that go along with it. And a lot of students tend to lose their card, unfortunately, but luckily the VCU card office does offer a free replacement for the first time that you lose your card, and then you'll have to pay a small fee for any other time after that you might lose it and need it to be replaced. And again, we have these links here for you to learn more about it, for your student to submit their photo, and then to make that appointment to pick their card up once it's ready too. Okay.
Yes, so VCU housing. So again, we linked the website to housing directly in the presentation because there's a lot of detailed information about move-in, but essentially move-in will be happening on a time slot basis. So there is a general period of time where move-in can happen, but your student would have to sign up for a specific time slot to move in. And we mentioned that it's important that students complete the requirements that was emailed to them. So that email should have went out about a week or two ago recently. And if they complete all of those requirements, they will then receive instructions on how to sign up for one of those time slots for move-in. But again, this link here in the presentation has the website that gives the most up-to-date information about housing, as this is one of the areas that is constantly evolving due to things that may come up. So having that website on hand as we go into this period before move-in would be great, and get to know the latest on that.
Yep, and I think I did see a question in the chat earlier. I didn't get to see if it was answered, but someone asked if there's like photos and things of the different residence halls. And the housing website does have lots of beautiful photos of the residence halls. They also have virtual tours that you can do of the halls too. So it's just like a little virtual walkthrough of what the different suites and rooms look like at all the different halls on campus.
All right, and Ramsition events. So these are opportunities that we've been offering this summer to come and visit us at VCU in person through small groups. And we have themes for these events that are connect, explore, and serve. And essentially, these are great ways for both students and families to have a time to have a campus tour led by some of our orientation leaders and campus partners, and also engage in activities that are fun and give a sense of what it's like to be a part of our family. So if you're interested in these in-person opportunities, you can register for them and find out more on Rams Connect. And we do have some spots open for some leftover events that we have for the rest of the summer. So if this is something that interests you, head on over to Rams Connect and you'll be searching for what's called Ramsition. And we hope to see you at these upcoming events.
All right. Well, that was all the content that we had for you all. So now we can go on to answering some questions. So I just saw this last question here in the chat. Says, there's no parking in front of the Honors College dorm. How do we take things up from the car to the dorm? So for move-in day at VCU, or the move-in days, the different times where students will be moving in, VCU is usually very accommodating and just aware of the fact that it is a kind of tight, compact area, and being downtown in a city like that with lots of people trying to move in all at once. So they take those extra precautions to, mark out places for family members to bring their cars up and allow them to unload their cars, and just make it as easy as it can be, for you all. So they keep that in mind, that you'll have somewhere to pull your cars up and unload and things during your scheduled move-in time. And you guys can keep dropping questions in the chat. And like we said, we're done with our presentation, so you guys can feel free to unmute yourselves as well too if you want to ask a question.
I wanted to ask a question. Is it okay if I just ask it out loud?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's just too much to type. I just want to make sure that we're on the right track timeline wise. She's getting her vaccine records all done and uploaded tomorrow. And then she's got her advisor appointment on Monday. She hasn't taken the COVID course yet because it wouldn't open up until she had started registering for classes. So I'm assuming she can do that Monday and then schedule her move-in. I feel like we're late because I see so many people that have already scheduled their move-in date. So do you feel like we're kind of time-wise on the right track, or are we like horribly behind?
I wouldn't gauge on anything being behind. I think as long as a lot of these requirements and steps get done, and you and your student are in contact with the relevant offices and the relevant processes that need to be done, there is a range of times to move in. And we just want to ensure that your student is ready to go for when classes start. And however that happens, to the best that you can, then that works out great. And as long as you all are in contact and kind of working on these steps as best you can, then I think that's a great way to go for you. Thank you for asking that.
Oh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Based on the, so moving date are fixed, or it can be changed a day or so, something comes up. So let's say you have given a moving date and you cannot make it on that particular day. Can it be changed?
Right. So if you need to change your movement date for any reason, or if anything comes up, the best way is to contact housing directly. And I can go ahead and drop that in the chat as well, their direct contact. And they'll be able to work with you and give you a personalized response to that.
Thank you.
Of course.
My daughter has her orientation on Tuesday, 27th. I assume she'll get an email with instructions on logging in on Monday.
Does an FOL, Chanel or Kayla, would one of y'all want to answer that?
Yes, so as for me, I usually like to send my emails out 2 days prior, and then I'll send a reminder a day prior. So she should get something either Sunday or Monday from her OL.
Mhm.
And I had another second question is the book Rising, is that required for all freshmen? And when do they have to read this?
Rising is, so it's a common book, so it is required for all first years to read. I like emphasize that it's for students who are taking UNIV. Usually students who are not taking UNIV don't read the book. It is like incorporated into all aspects of like all classes and stuff like that. But I would say if your student is taking UNIV, then it actually is required and should be read before classes start. And UNIV is essentially just an English class, since I just saw that in the chat.
I have one more question. So do we need to collect a student ID before move-in date?
So appointments to pick up the card should can be made on that link that we put in the chat, and it's also in the presentation. As far as if you need it for move-in, I believe that again that when you have your move-in time, that is when we'll accommodate and be able to work with you. And we know that a lot of people are visiting on campus, family members, and you're also trying to get your VCU ID as a new student. So very understanding of that. Just we definitely want to emphasize to get it as soon as you can, but it should not hinder move in. And any details about move-in will be included in the instructions. So they'll be able to further clarify what is needed for move-in and what that would look like with the VCU card.
So how do we get before moving? We are away, we are nowhere near the campus. So how can we collect it?
If you're not able to go to campus ahead of time and pick it up in person, you're also able during when you can get to campus and you schedule that appointment is when you can go pick it up. So when you are on campus, maybe it is move-in. And if you are able to schedule your appointment for that time, then that's when you can pick it up at the office. But the office will be able to work with you. And we can drop that link again in the chat so you can check them out.
I have a question. Where do I find specification on what type of laptops or computer is required for my specific major?
So that will actually be done through Ramtech at VCU. Did you have the link to the PowerPoint that we just went through?
Not yet, but I did go to Ramtech and there's nothing on it.
Okay. Well, can someone drop the link to either Ramtech? So on the Ramtech website, there should be a section for you to go in and look through and find where what your student's field of study is and what kind of devices and computers they recommend for whatever your student is studying on campus.
Where on that site? I can't find that link anywhere. Is
Okay.
it a bundle?
I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay, here, I'll try to look for that now.
Did just drop it in the chat.
Okay.
Liz. And there's the link to like the VCU recommended laptops and then based on major, all that on there.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Who else has questions?
Yeah, we're definitely trying our best to make it through the chat and get to as many as we can. I know we are hitting at 101, so we're really thankful for everyone for coming and getting us getting some information from us about joining our family and having a chance to ask your questions. We'll still try our best to answer as many as we can, but we really do thank you for showing up today and joining us. And if you have any other questions, you can definitely reach out to New Student and Family Programs. I'll go ahead and drop that website as well for us. And again, we'll still stick around and try our best to answer some more questions.
I have one more question. Do we Ramly module need to be completed by a student or parents?
I'm sorry, could you repeat? Does what have to be completed by?
Yes, yes, Ramly modules, it has to be completed by a student or by parents.
So those modules, they are required for students. And then for family members and parents, they're completely optional.
Okay,
It's just for your own benefit, just to learn some more, but they're only required for students.
thank you.
You're welcome. Yep, and Karina just dropped the link to our website there in the chat, the family programs. So there's our website. You can find contact information on there to get in touch with us. I think someone was just about to ask a question. You guys are all being so nice in the chat. Make us feel like we're doing great at
We
our job.
appreciate y'all.
How do I get access to Ramps Connect? It is asking for a login, and I see guest ID, and the guest ID there is no option to register. I have registered a guest ID for the for the other website, and the same ID is not working here.
Right. So Rams Connect is going to be a little funky for our family members, and this is just something that has to do with the website. So the trick is when you go to the Rams Connect homepage, instead of going straight to login, you're going to go to the top where it says events. And you should be able to see a collection of events that are open to everyone and not just VCU affiliated members. And you'll be able to see that there are some events that you can register for. And when you click register, so for instance, for a Ram Session event.
Actually, I went directly to the events page, and it is still throwing the sign in pop-up.
Gotcha. Okay.
I saw that as well.
That's great to know. Thank you all for letting us know. So that may be an issue that we take back to our office, and try to troubleshoot that. And we will work on that and try to get that fixed or resolved.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah.
If you've had all your questions answered, don't feel like you have to stick around, but we are here to keep answering any questions. So thank you all so much for your pleasant attitudes and your positivity, and for being here and just supporting our office. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, great weekend, and welcome to VCU again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And